everybody love everybody.
Yeah.
Well,
With
it's as good as serve, serve, serve.
I actually used that in
I'm telling you, it's catchy.
in the executive council meeting. That's how I ended.
Now, if you looked up
Nice.
and saw that, you'd say, well, is that what I'm doing? It would work.
Is that what I'm doing?
That is a solid
That could
word.
be like a year. I don't see us.
No, it
Oh,
it
there we are. There we are.
Okay.
Just now. It's a little longer than 30-second delay.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we need to check, we're trying out our new amplifier, and we're not sure how that translates to.
You need to wait a minute because there is nobody on but me.
Well, then I guess I'll shut up.
Well, I'm just saying.
What'd you
oh, wait,
say in that
there's somebody.
sermon last Sunday? Nobody's on.
Okay,
You
now there's
abandoned
another
us.
person. There's another person. Ask him. Now you can ask him.
Who's on?
I don't know. But there's people. There's 4 now.
There's
four.
people.
They're
There's
coming.
people.
So we are
If
trying
you
out
say
our,
it, they will come.
our new amplifier, and we're not quite sure how the sound translates virtually. So
Online.
if you could let us know that you're able to hear us and hear us
Or hear us too much?
or too much,
We don't have it turned to 11.
We don't.
it's
we
pretty
don't.
it's pretty high up.
We don't know. Apparently, there's something that doesn't regulate what you're hearing online. So what we're hearing in
Yeah.
here might not be what you're hearing online. And somebody left us. I don't know who left us. Somebody left. Oh, sounds good. Oh, yay, thank you very much,
Everything
Kim. I
working
appreciate that.
Off the jump. Look at that. We're in rare form.
Look at that. Holy
I
cow,
know.
that's scary.
That's, well, just wait for the other shoe to drop then, yay?
Yeah, because probably somebody won't be able to hear it. But anyway,
We'll just say it's their issue and not an us issue.
Oh, well.
us first, them. Come on.
Sure, not verse. In general.
Not first.
Our technology appears to be working.
Our technology appears
We'll
to
do
be
it.
working.
We'll do it the way a certain company does when you call them, when they just tell you it's your problem. They don't need to fix it.
Felt like, oh, please, let me get you to that.
Joanne says it's great on her desktop and her phone.
Oh,
So she's listening in
excellent.
stereo.
Nice.
Oh, good, 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 good. Yay. Okay.
So,
So
coup-
announcements.
announcements. So October 24th is Harvest Home Sunday.
Yeah.
So bring your canned goods, and you might get lucky enough to take a pumpkin home with you.
And
Or
some
two.
of those pumpkins,
Were
Were
grown
grown in
in
the
the
praise garden.
praise garden.
yeah.
So
Kayla, our little farmer out there, and Elias planted
Yeah.
those way back in the spring and waited a really long time, and finally have some cute little pumpkins out there. None of our jack-o'-lanterns.
No
grew.
biggins.
No biggins this year. All small. So I'm assuming it's sugar babies. I don't know if you've ever seen children under 5 planting seeds. It's a little bit of chaos. Even with our square foot gardening technique, it was more like,
yeah,
yeah. And then the
Scatter.
squirrels replanted some of those plants out in the yard, and we had to transplant them back into the garden.
Oh.
So,
okay.
but we
Oh,
do have some.
nature.
Oh, nature! It was a fun learning experience. So
I
but-
thought it was a great deal. I liked it.
yeah. So they will be here on display with all of your canned goods.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
So that supports Glade Valley Food Bank.
Yes.
Right. I got to make sure I get that right. And then October 31st is Reformation Sunday. Regina Baker will be here to read from our newly refurbished German Bible. So she will read the first and second lesson in German.
Yep.
So turn Google Translate on.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
I
Let's
know-
see what the
lovely
closed
sounds
captionings look
of
like for that.
She
That'll be
was
fun.
pretty excited about doing that.
Yeah.
So
And we don't know a lot of the history of the Bible. So if anybody has heard any stories of the Bible, all we know it was from the Allbaugh family, which is one of the founders of the church. Originally, obviously back in the 1800s.
well, the Bible's dated 1788.
Yeah, so if there is any history that anybody knows or has heard any folklore from family members, we would love to have that story.
Yeah.
If you could share that with us, that would be amazing.
Also,
ask around.
Also that day, we will welcome new members.
Oh, okay.
So if you're interested in becoming a member of St. Paul's, we'd love to hear from you and be able to include you that day to
Yay.
join our community. So
Join up, get a pumpkin.
join up, get a pumpkin.
Oh, we might need some more pumpkins.
It's our new
then.
catchphrase.
That's we've got all kinds of catchphrases going on. We
Everybody
got
love everybody.
everybody love everybody. Serve, serve, serve. Join up, get a pumpkin. So which one of those mission statements do you like the best? I don't know.
I don't know. November 7th is All Saints Sunday. So if you have had a loved one or a friend pass away since last All Saints Sunday, please contact the church office and they will get their name on the list for us to recognize during our worship service that day. And then November 14th, we will honor the 80th anniversary of our military, I forget what the title.
Military Appreciation
Military Appreciation Sunday. So if you are a veteran, we'd love to see you here.
Sunday. Actively serving.
We'd love to see you here.
Thinking about serving. I don't know.
We'd love to see you here because everybody loves everybody.
Everybody loves everybody. No pumpkin that day, though.
Yeah, no pumpkin. Maybe a zucchini.
A round of applause. Zucchini is so over.
Okay, well,
It
I
was
don't know.
so last season.
But yes, please contact Joanne in the office and she will compile a list. So I think we're looking for dates served. I can't remember.
Branch,
Branch,
dates served, and
right.
if you want to put where you served, you can.
Yeah.
But some people choose not to. It's up.
You can squeeze in that old uniform.
Can you squeeze into
We
that?
tried to do that the
uniform? Yeah.
one year. They shrink in the closet.
Yeah, that was
I'm sure that's what happens.
quite a few years. They
What was
do
it,
shrink.
28 waist then? Put it that way.
I don't know.
And then the blood drive is what, the 19th?
November 19th. Can you tell we had the calendar meeting this week? He's got all these dates
I got
like
it all
so
swirling.
fresh in his mind.
There's a 75% chance of accuracy.
75%.
Yeah,
I
I
give you a
think
little credit.
I think I got 100 on this one. Yeah.
So we got a sound is low. Is anybody else having a sound low problem? If not, crank your sound
Turn
up
your
a little bit,
volume up.
maybe. We'll see. Let's hear from those other people that are
Who have
On
joined
here.
us?
Yeah.
Yes.
checking the sound. Sound check. I have an announcement. Because you skipped right over October 30th, and we're having our trunk or treat.
Trunk or treat.
It's a Saturday, 5:30 to 7, and we'll probably be back over in the parking lot. I was hoping to maybe be over in the newly revealed lot back here, but we need some grass to grow back there, so we're not going to be there. We're going to clean up the parking lot and be back here. But we need some people who are willing to decorate up the trunk, the back of their vehicle, just some funness, and be willing to hand out some treats to kids.
Yeah.
So if you're
And-
interested in having a trunk,
Kona Ice.
I don't know who's coming yet.
How about the steak and cheese truck?
Well, not to throw anybody under the bus, but I'm not sure what you mean by on the, Diane has a low sound as well.
Turn it up, Diane,
Well,
because we love you.
maybe scotch. Just put it up a scotch.
Okay.
Oh no.
This could be
Touching
trouble.
buttons. Who
This-
knows what's going to happen?
Who knows what's going to happen?
All right, that's Mevo.
But I would be
Mevo?
really excited if the dairy bar could come out. They've got grilled cheese and ice cream. So if it's chili, grilled cheese. If it's nice, ice cream.
Okay, I've turned everybody up to the max on the Mevo.
We're up at the max.
Oh, we're up at the max. So hopefully you can hear us. And if you can hear us too much, let us know.
Because we may have to do some adjustments with that.
before Sunday
Before
would be
Sunday.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is kind of the test session.
And Julio, if you're listening, we may need to do that.
You just saved a text.
Could be user error on anybody's part at this point.
No, as far as helping to adjust, because
Oh.
he made adjustments the
Oh,
other
right.
night on it. That's
Okay,
all.
Diane said that was better. So
There you go.
Okay.
Well,
so
we're glad that you can
note
hear
to-
us.
Note to self for Sunday, because, with the lectors and
Yeah.
everybody, all the microphones are different, and,
But that
So-
may too, and your mom says better too.
okay, good. Good. All right.
So
And do we want to say anything about the mission statement?
you can go right
Okay.
ahead.
So we came to a conclusion on updating the mission statement, and it's going to council this month.
Everybody loves everybody.
And then once they say thumbs up, it'll go to the congregation at the annual meeting to vote on it.
Right.
And
So-
thanks so much for the people who submitted their
Comments.
their
Comments,
comments, their
yeah.
voting for the mission statement. It really helped us get some other opinions, because, when we're talking to ourselves, on that committee for however long, a couple times, we start thinking it sounds good, or I don't know. We just liked different opinions, and I think we kind of mashed them up a little bit.
Yep, and I think it turned out really well.
Kept it short and sweet so that we can remember it and get past the
Do you remember
people.
it?
I do, but I'm not going to put it out yet. 'cause
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
it's-
approved.
it's
We
not
don't want to throw
approved.
it out into the.
Okay.
But progress
World
is
Wide
being
Web.
made. Progress is being
Yes.
made.
Okay.
Stay tuned. Come to the annual meeting,
Come
which we
join us.
know because we scheduled it. Is
The 31st.
is it? Is it?
I'm pretty sure.
No.
No.
No,
That was a nice try.
that was a nice try, but I think it's the 30th.
It's definitely a Sunday.
It is
It's a
30th.
Sunday.
It is the 30th.
Sunday.
The 30th.
The 30th of January. Yeah. So. Yep.
So, yep, we're good.
We're good.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. Apparently we're yeehawing it.
All right.
All right, so what are we doing today?
I don't know. What are we doing today?
We're talking about sex. I thought you were going to sing.
So
I thought you were going to jump into some 90s hip hop.
the George Michael song?
Anyway.
No, I was not.
No,
I
I'm
was not on
I
that.
got in
Sorry, I
trouble
was
for
still
Bon
reading
Jovi,
the-
so I'm not going anywhere.
Not even gonna try George
No,
Michael.
Nope. I
Well,
had some AC/DC playing before, but, Anyway.
so yeah,
So,
we're on that.
especially for Diane, who follows us along on the pages, I
Yep.
think we're going to start around page 19 today, just to kind of clean this up a little bit, and then we'll talk about the social message a little bit too. But there were a couple of things that I highlighted on page 19, one of which was, protecting the civil rights of everybody, prohibiting discrimination. Then it calls upon congregations and members to welcome, care for, and support same-gender couples and their families, and to advocate for their legal protection. So much like we've been talking about, relationship is very important, and how we support that relationship, and how we support those who are in their own periods of discernment or have discerned and have made commitments. And I think that's really what the crux of this document goes to, is the I don't want to say lifelong, because that doesn't always translate, because we know that there's difference, but to the long-term relationship commitments, and not just to be willy-nilly, out there doing whatever it is that you want to do. It's about committing to one person.
And the fidelity of it.
The fidelity of it, that's right.
monogamy. Yeah,
Right.
monogamous, I think, was a key word there too, not
Yes, that's a good word. That
jumping around.
right.
Also in the George Michael song, though, I believe, right? Maybe?
No.
I don't know.
We are not playing that.
We can't afford to pay for
Sorry,
that.
Russ brought it up, and now it's
Now it's stuck in your head.
stuck in my head. Somebody
Yeah.
say something else. I don't know.
So the second thing that I underlined in this was that we understand that in the discernment about ethics and church practice, faithful people can and will come to different conclusions about the meaning of Scripture and about what constitutes responsible action. And I think Gary hit the nail on the head last week when he said, well, Jesus didn't talk about that. And you're right. A lot of this stuff, a lot of the law, well, all of the law is Old Testament. So it predates Jesus and the new creation, the new beginning that we all welcomed in when Christ sacrificed himself on the cross. And now we evolve into different things in how we are as humanity and how we are in God's creation to, be in a relationship. That's the big thing, is the relationship.
Right, and the main crux of all this is, regardless if you agree with something or not, you need to be caring to other people, and you need to try to support them in a way where you're not judging or ostracizing,
We're welcoming.
Right.
We don't want to shun people, like we talked about last week with divorce and other things. We want to be able to give people safe space to be able to live out their lives as well, and not just us be the arbiter of what is appropriate or proper in life, because I think we've said numerous times as well that there's only one judge, and it's not the three of us.
No. What did you guys think about the words? Because I think you're going to read those portions off here in a second. But it keeps saying conscience bound. What does that mean to you guys?
I have thoughts, but go ahead.
Give me like a sentence.
Well,
throw it in a sentence.
Can you use that word in a sentence?
Different. I will read you the sentence.
Root of origin.
Respect for the conscience-bound belief of others. So we further believe that this church, on the basis of the bound conscience, will include different understandings and practices.
Right.
And they use that terminology a couple times, and I don't know that I am wholly clear on what that means.
My impression is that someone's beliefs are like finalized. Their sort of stance on this is what it is. This is what I believe. I'm assuming biblically and everything. And
their interpretation is what their conscience deems them to believe. But I was just
I can't do that because my conscience won't allow me to.
Right.
Uh-oh. Luther's understanding of bound conscience.
Oh, did you
I
there
Googled.
is the subscript
He kept
in
a
there,
conscience in a box under his bed.
I figured it had, I figured it wasn't a terminology that they just made up, but I wasn't sure what it really meant, because if as we go through these different convictions of people, they use that a lot. I'm like, I'm not sure I wholly understand what that means, because my conscience is telling me.
All right.
I'm trying to find because it's quite apparently a document that.
Oh.
We don't
need a whole document.
Yeah. No.
Maybe
described as recover. Yes.
I think it was like whatever, subscript 26 or whatever. My document's not loading, so I don't know. Hashtag the internet. Did everybody, while he's looking it up, did everybody survive the blackout of Facebook and Instagram earlier in the week?
I didn't even notice.
I only noticed
the accounts
because I was trying to schedule all of the Facebook posts for this week for the church, and I was like, what am I doing wrong? And then one of my kids came home and was like, did you know that this is all blacked out? And I was like, well, that explains my frustration, and had I known that, I would have just walked away, assuming I was doing something wrong. Anyway, move on.
Let's move on.
We'll move on.
It's a pretty heady.
There's more to come. Conscience bound is a
another
thing.
week.
There's three different types of conscience that Luther talks about in his work. So.
Well, all right. That was a deeper question than I wanted it to be.
Well, thank you.
Another
I mean,
rabbit hole for us to jump down one day.
And I'm not going to say that this is correct or not, but the way I looked at it was much like Russ. How our own individual beliefs, prejudices, whatever, hold us tight to what it is that we espouse as our belief. And I think part of our being is to free that bound conscience and be open to other things, so that we're not wrapped up in just ourselves, but we are able to experience different experiences in our life. We are able to experience. So, but
Different
that's
perspectives.
Right, and not just dig our heels in and be firm and be able to, like Gary said, have that discussion, be able to talk about things. So the church in this document kind of laid out 4 different ways that people have agreed to disagree on this topic. And the first one being that some are convinced the same-gender sexual behavior is sinful and contrary to biblical teaching and their understanding of natural law. That it puts the person in grave danger of unrepentant sin. So, I think that's the one extreme, right?
I would say.
Yeah. And then the next point was that some are convinced that homosexuality or even lifelong monogamous relationships reflect a broken world in which some relationships do not pattern themselves after the creation God intended. So I think that's moving a little bit further towards the middle, but it doesn't get there at all.
Not me, I didn't know.
No.
Keep going. I haven't found one that.
Yeah. So the next one says that some are convinced that the scriptural witness does not address the context of sexual orientation and lifelong loving and committed relationships that we experience today. They believe the neighbor and community are best served when same-gender relationships are honored and held to high standards as public accountability, but they do not equate those relationships with marriage. So in this,
A little more towards the middle.
a little more, but they don't. Those relationships aren't equated to a marriage, commitment.
Right, so they're looking more at like a civil partnership
Right.
and not marriage.
Right.
Right.
So, okay, that's like you said. It's a little bit
A little bit further down the
little
spectrum.
bit further down the spectrum. And then the last one is that scriptural witness does not address the context of sexual orientation and committed relationships we experience today. They believe that the neighbor and community are best served when same-gender relationships are lived out with lifelong and monogamous commitments that are held to the same rigorous standards, sexual ethics, and status of heterosexual marriage. So I think that's the other side of the, I would say more middle, right? Where
I
maybe
think
not
that's
more
the
middle.
other end.
Yeah, where no, I don't think it goes to the far extreme as the first one does.
No, I don't think.
No, but it's
I don't
basically
know.
saying it's an equivalent to,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it's held to the same standards as anybody.
So
Right.
these are the 4 perspectives that
Right.
they
that
are
those are the
hearing
in the church.
in the church.
Right. And that's like I think you've said many times, Belinda, how these documents are able to be edited and able to be viewed and able to be.
More Russ, but
Oh, it's more Russ.
That's all right, we share credit.
Serve.
Yes.
serve.
But it, to me, if you're committed to somebody, regardless of who it is, that's what it is. That's the basis of your relationship, your commitment.
Well, I think regardless of where you stand on any of those, we go back to we we should be treating people in a positive way, regardless of where you are on the spectrum of those 4 things.
Yeah, it was that next paragraph, as I read through those 4 convictions, that got me thinking. You know, it's like it lacks consensus in this matter, but encourages everyone to live out their faith with a profound respect for those conscience-bound belief, the conscience-bound belief of their neighbor. Which then, you know, I was like, oh, I have to be tolerant of all of those beliefs, which I would like something more clear-cut and dry. I like
Yeah, but I think
yay or nay,
They go
but
into-
it's, yeah.
Yeah, they go into that they're constantly talking about this, and there's constantly discussions, and there's
Yeah.
people digging deeper into certain areas. They're even going into scientific research, you
Yeah.
know, and all this stuff. So they're trying to get a consensus. At
Yeah,
some
and
point.
I don't
They'll
know that
address
we'll,
it.
I don't know that we will ever get to consensus. It just another reminder that we have to have mutual respect, even for people whose opinions differ from ours,
and I think
which is
that
tough sometimes.
the next section where it talks about families is how this really boils down to, is that if the relationships support families no matter what, and they're nurturing, they're loving, they're caring, they're supportive, they do everything that needs to be done to make that family whole and good, and
And establish trust. That's
right.
you know what goes back to again the trust with this document. It was does the relationship,
Safety
does
and
the
trust.
family unit, does the
Right.
household build trust or distrust?
Safety and trust, because if you don't have that, then it becomes dangerous, no matter what kind of family you're in.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And I think so moving on then to families,
Mm-hmm.
what do we want to,
So I think that's what I just kind of
you just said,
jumped ahead, yeah, and said, was that the church sees family as the unit of support for everybody, and you can't break those trusts, you can't break those fidelities and other things within the family unit, and once you do, and things become dangerous, and that's some of the things that come through on the social message, where it talks about what contributes to the downfall of like a relationship, but in the message it specifically says the misuse of sexuality, where there's adultery, pornography, promiscuity, abuse especially, prostitution, and spreading disease, and even
all things frowned upon.
All the negative aspects.
and especially, I mean, I think we talked about it last week a little bit, was what you see on TV or what you see on social media, how things have changed since I was a kid, where before 10 o'clock at night you didn't see certain things, and now it's on all time.
Everything's on all the time.
Yeah, 24/7.
But I like that they didn't limit the definition of family to the nuclear family. They're saying there are millions of households that are single parent, or
Right.
there's families with a missing generation.
Mm-hmm.
There's same gender family,
And blended families and
blended
everything in
families,
between.
and everything in between. And it's the responsibility of any unit, no matter how it's made up, was to, I like the way they put it,
Promotes.
tasks of providing safety,
Right.
shielding intimacy, and developing trustworthy relationships.
Yep.
They got their mission statement down like, that's it. That's a family mission statement right there.
Yeah.
Those 3 things. I liked that.
You should have brought it up last week.
I should have brought it up last week. No. Anyway.
Yep.
What else you guys got on the families?
I
I mean, it's a lot of detail. It's about 4 pages worth of
Yep.
support the family.
So it says the church's first response toward family and households should be one of welcome and support that includes particularly the care for and safety of children. Children are to be invited into the community of the baptized regardless of their family situation.
Well, I feel like duh should be that.
A little bit, but sometimes you got to spell stuff out, you know?
I
Right.
feel like that one's like duh.
Right.
But yes, I mean, or you could say, yes, Jesus invited all the children to come to him, as we too should.
He did. But
Are you going to argue against that?
I know. I was like, why are we saying?
But
Why are we putting?
I'm not
butt
putting
there?
a butt there. I'm not putting a butt there. No.
Okay.
I feel like that needs a little clarification.
No,
of what you're
because I'm
contemplating.
my brain's moving forward and trying to figure out something.
Okay. All right. Well then,
Maybe you'll hear about it on Sunday.
maybe or maybe not.
Perhaps.
Perhaps. Do we want to move into then protecting children and youth?
So I think that's, part of what we're required to do is we should always be doing that.
Yeah.
Not partly. And, like you're, part of what St. Paul's has, we have a child protective policy that spells it out, what we are required to do and how we do it and why we do it, and it will be done.
Yes. And, some people question, well, why do we need to do that? We've known people a long time. Obviously, it's to cover your own liability, but more so to make sure that that's a safe environment. You're proving to the families who are bringing their children here that you have taken steps to make sure you've created a safe sanctuary, to borrow a Methodist term. And that's what we need, accountability. I think just making sure that we're following those steps provides accountability to the parents, the families, everybody.
And we certainly want to make sure that our children are safeguarded, because that's what we're supposed to do as family, and this church is family, so that's our job.
Yep. I concur. Check. And thanks to the Synod for the child protection policy is relatively new, within like the past 5 or 6 years, since we started implementing that. And the Synod was really great with directing us on how to do that, providing some training and then a sample, and us being able to make it work for our circumstances here. So I just wanted to shout out to anybody at the Synod who might ever listen to that. Thanks for supporting the local church.
Yeah, and it's really, for us, it's a loving document that commits us. It's how do I love thee?
Oh my gosh. He didn't have to think too hard on that one. He got that in there. Okay.
That's what he does for his wife on Valentine's Day, with a check mark.
The check mark. Anywho.
Anyway.
Moving on. Where are we at? Are we
So
moving
I think
to
I'm on 25.
Oh, okay.
And it's really just reiterating over and over how we as a church community are to protect our children from things that are inappropriate, things that are evil, things that are, contrary to what family life would promote.
And still giving a nod to that we're still addressing these things, spinning
Right.
off another social message, not the one that we had talking about, but another one, commercial sexual exploitation, that was done in 2001, is basically all about all of those things that are bombarding our children,
Yeah,
and how we need to buffer them from that.
so I've been watching the Wonder Years reboot
Okay.
and it's based in the 60s in an African American community. And last night's show was exactly about this. The boy finds, magazines, and then they're bringing them around, and then the parents have the talk with the child, and they have one particular one where they say, you always ask questions, this is what's going on, this is love, this is how your dad loves me, this is how I love your dad, back and forth. And then at one point they're called to the principal's office, and you have the one family who's like, rah, 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 I can't believe, and then the other family that is like, this is how you
We gotta talk about
foster,
that.
this is how you foster that relationship, this is how you foster that love. And I thought it was, very well done.
Well done. 5 stars for the reboot of Wonder Years from Pastor Phil.
I'm gonna
Well,
That sounds violent.
well,
Workplace violence.
They go into that in this document where they say, based on the age and the maturity of your child, you're supposed to be educating them
Yes.
and things as they go, so that they can be healthy and not get themselves in a situation.
And that's what that was
not
all
positive.
about.
Right.
That was
Yeah.
what that was all about last night, was having those healthy conversations and not,
Right.
Yeah, you have
Doesn't
to be
mean
aware
you dump
of.
everything on them when they're
No.
7 or 13 and say, here, this is
here,
everything.
have at
Yeah,
it.
here. This is everything. Good luck.
We'll see you in a couple
Try
of
to
years.
process that before
Yeah.
you even hit adolescence. Yeah, and using the experiences of the things in the world to help them process and understand that, I think, is the most important. I mean, you can't just sit down and cover everything, but you can use everyday things to be like, well, this is an opportunity to have a discussion about
Whatever. Right. And it's not just this, it's, whatever else is going on in the world.
Yeah. Yep. What about sexuality and trust in relationships? Next section.
Yep.
Anything?
So
Stand out for
I
y'all?
highlighted healthy, trusting relationships shape confident, healthy, and responsible people, which was the message of that show last night, was just having those conversations are going to help you become a better person.
And that's kind of the message of this whole entire statement, is
Right.
trust, if you're going to boil it down to building trust.
Yep.
We're good.
I think we're good.
It does go into a lot of detail. I mean,
There-
it is
well, and a lot-
30
but a
some
lot-
pages.
But a lot of it is
Um,
repetitive too.
And I mean, if you want to make a deeper dive, there's good stuff in there.
Yeah.
We're giving you sort of the bullet points and the overview, and if you want to dig into it, they're worth a read. They're really well done, and
They are.
And part of what we're trying to do here is just spur the conversation, to be able to put it out to people that, these documents are out there. They're guideposts for us.
They help you question, but they also give you a different perspective, which is what I like.
Right.
It is or a different something different to think about. Like I'm always stunned by like, oh, right.
Didn't think of
I
that.
should probably look at it from that point of view, or, oh, I didn't even realize that those things were intertwined. A lot of work went into these, and you can tell, and they're really well done.
well, and the statements
said
are
that
really
violently.
the positions that the church has voted on and said, these are our positions, where the messages are more guidelines, and they haven't been locked in necessarily. Because I know we were going to get in, I don't know if we're going to have time to get into that, but it's pretty good too.
Yeah.
The social messaging.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked about it a little bit, and that's kind of what the social message does. It kind of gives you a stepping stone to get into the social statement, which is, the social message is something that's not been fully voted in as a document for
The social messages have
right,
not been
social
yet.
messages.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a stepping stone for us, and like a guidepost for us to get to the social
And-
statement.
And I think there are, or the social statements, like spin off, like the one what was it called? Commercial sexual exploitation was something that spun off of, it wasn't really, there wasn't room for that information in the social statement, or maybe they didn't agree on everything there. And so the social message was born for that. Because I feel like there are several social messages that relate to this particular social statement.
Sure. I mean, I think all of, you can gain, because it's all about relationship, and it's all about how you hear someone else's perspective, and it's, what's the basis for this is trust, caring, love, and being there for other people.
And our sexuality is a gift from God, and
Right.
shouldn't be something that should be
Is
suppressed
used as a weapon.
or used as a weapon or an instrument of shame.
Right.
It was a gift from God, and we're to
And it should be treated with
treat it that
respect.
way. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Correct.
So,
Are there any questions out there?
any questions? I haven't looked this in a while. Oh, Russ's mic was weak. I don't know how long ago that
I know,
question was.
that could be the distance from a mouth.
That could have been. That could
Yeah,
be
that's a
user
me
error.
problem.
Yeah.
That's a him problem. Any questions on that social statement? I feel like
I think that
if we have no other questions,
Yeah.
I feel
What
like
is
we've
our next
covered that one.
super heavy
So-
duty?
genetics.
Genetics.
Oh,
I don't know
genetics.
how heavy a lift that's going to be. I haven't looked at it yet,
I
but
don't know.
I think genetics is our next one.
Oh,
Since we're
yeah.
kind of on that plane.
Sorry,
I don't
I'm
remember
stuck
seeing
on
that one.
sexism. Well, it's not in Spanish, but Genetics and Faith and Responsibility addresses the church's teaching to the human power increasingly unleashed today in genetic research and its applications, with all its questions and complexities.
You don't want to run into another you when you're on vacation.
Yeah. Russ's doppelganger.
Yeah, I was about to say, apparently I have a doppelganger somewhere, but nobody needs two Belindas around. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
You might, depending on your schedule.
Well, yeah, that would be nice, but I'm sure we would not get along.
So we meet next week, not the following week, right?
Right, so
Correct.
we have, we are here next week, the 14th, the 21st, both these guys are gonna be out of town. And so we'll be taking that week off, and then we'll be back on the 28th.
That is the plan.
Radical.
So genetics next week, we'll see, I guess that's something about people playing God maybe a little bit, I don't know.
think
so.
probably.
So that should be interesting. Thanks
Okay.
for
Thanks for tuning in
joining
today.
us today.
Absolutely.
See you next week.